Welcome to our Rolemaster actual play session. Twilight of the Old Order and Ain't No Place for a Hero are two campaigns currently co-joined, set in the world of Duranarki, the continent of men. In this gritty, cutthroat world, politics, religion, and commerce are all intertwined and reign supreme. Characters need to be both smart and ruthless to survive. We hope you enjoy our story, and, as always, may the dice roll in your favor. This is episode 134 of Twilight of the Old Order, and episode 111 of Ain't No Place for a Hero. Their mission on Jewel Island now apparently over, the two parties turn their attention to where next and what to do regarding their slain friend Keros. We pick up the story just as the ship is docking the miserable, crumbling free city of Landaina in the swamps of the Green Festa, the Ala-Meng. Hello, I'm Chris, otherwise known as GM Chance. And as the words say on screen, welcome to our story. Or as I now very repetitively, highly repetitively say, it's actually not story, it's two stories. There are two campaigns, two games, both set in the same world at the same time, with broadly similar themes to each campaign, with 6 characters in each game. And currently, both those games, both those campaigns, and all of those 12 characters have reconvened, and we're playing 2 campaigns, 2 games together. And you'll see up on screen there a very large number, the 12 that I mentioned, characters. Hopefully for our regular viewers, these are now very familiar faces, and we do have some very loyal and regular viewers. For those of you who perhaps are checking in for this channel or checking us out for the first time, in a second or so I'm going to hand over to the players of those characters to introduce those characters, and then a little bit later on we're going to ask for a little bit more information about the characters and their backgrounds. Before I do, just a really big hearty thanks, I should say, to our supporters, people who follow us online and provide enthusiasm and comments and just general interest and support. It really is appreciated. We've had people writing some particularly nice things of late. People saying they're enjoying the game. There's a particular person who enjoys walking their dog and listening to our exploits, or rather the players' exploits as they walk their dog. We've had several other people inquire if they can join our game too. All very flattering and all very kind. What's also great is we get suggestions, better ways to do things, run things, and all the rest. So, yeah, just a really big shout out to the people that follow us and are interested in this, our hobby. I didn't actually give the name of the two campaigns, so it's already on the title screen. But in case you're wondering, Twilight of the Old Order is one game, and Ain't No Place for a Hero is the second game. Alright, no further ado, it's time to hear from the players of all of those faces up on screen to describe a little bit more about the characters they're playing tonight. And as usual, we're going to be starting off with Pete. Pete, take it away.
Hi, I'm Pete, and in this episode I'll be playing Leif. Leif is a half-elf warrior mage, which means he uses weapons as well as magic. He's a friendly fellow, very empathetic, and a really kind member of the party.
Kia ora, I'm Mason, and for this episode I'm playing Demos. He's a very attractive, very hunky, very buff mixed man. Really great with his spear and shield, and he can whip out some swords if he needs to. He's not the most intelligent person, but he makes up for it with a lot of kindness, a lot of gentleness, except for when he's fighting. And he's been with the party for a little while, has thoroughly enjoyed his time with them, is very much looking forward to saving the world. And on the side, he is looking and hoping to find his long lost sister that was kidnapped a long, long time ago.
Hi, I'm Graham. I play Nyathonel Sherakir. She is a Magent, which is a mix of stealthy skills, fighting skills, and magic skills, mentalism, magic of the mind. She is a complex character, something of a religious fundamentalist who believes in assassination as a sacred endeavour. She keeps that well hidden, however. She is a dab hand with a short sword and uses her magic and sneaky ability to good use in sneaking up on her adversaries.
Hi, my name's Giles, and for this episode I'm playing Tarquin. So Tarquin is a young, ridiculously good-looking half-elf. During his early life and adolescence, he's been well-trained in the gentle arts of thievery, charming others using his remarkably good looks, and of course, violence. He is in his own way a religious man, and he's out looking for some understanding as to what's happened to his homelands.
Kia ora, I'm Alex, and for this episode I'm playing Keros. Keros is a young North woman. She's a weather mage, a pretty powerful weather mage with some very cool spells. She's quite sweet and kind, a bit emotionally labile, but wears a heart on her sleeve and a strong moral compass. She also has a companion, a cat called Victory, who's a very important member of the party, and Victory was rescued, there's Victory, a wee while ago from impending doom.
Hello, I'm Graham. I play Etienne Gilderflower. He is a genitrist, which is a type of paladin or holy warrior. He follows the teachings of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and he believes that her will leads him on, and he makes decisions based on the dreams he receives or thinks he receives from his goddess. He has joined the party on a mission to, as he understands it, to save the old order, the world as they know it. He is a very charming, very good-looking man, a very eccentric man, speaks in riddles and rhymes most of the time, but he believes in a higher purpose. He's a very dab hand with a sword, usually found in full plate.
Kia ora, I'm Pete, and I'll be playing Mithan in this episode. Mithan is a ranger. She's a high man. She's pretty good at outdoor skills, and she's a pretty good archer. She's not a people person. She doesn't really care about people's feelings, although she's beginning to in this party.
Hi, I'm Aidan, and I'm playing Grey. Grey is a very handsome half-elf who doesn't really believe in wearing shirts. He's constantly just displaying his body all the time, which, he's got it, so he's flaunting it. He's got a bit of a tragic backstory. Pretty much everyone he's ever really cared about has been murdered brutally. But despite that, he's still a lovely, lovely guy. He's very caring, cares a lot about his teammates and also animals, loves animals, as he is a beastmaster. So he has the power to kind of, I don't know, not control, well, he can control animals, but he can also kind of interact with them and understand them and get them to help him do what he needs to do. When he's not using his magic, he is a bit of a dab hand with an axe. He is very good at chopping things, chopping enemies, and also good with a little bit of stabby and a crossbow as well. He has a bird called Wingy that is his best friend that needs to have a bit more of a story, I guess. She'll come into it a bit more like down the road, I think. Yeah, there's Gray.
Hello, I'm Graham, and I play Severin Kaidegard, who is a human swordsman, a dab hand at the sword, spent his whole life training in swordsmanship. He is a very charming fellow and fancies himself as a bit of a leader.
Hi, I'm Stara. I play Jada. She's a 6'7" Arab-looking woman. She fights with a quarterstaff, but not often because she's a healer. She grew up in a monastery where they adopted her, and she has just been taught how to heal, do martial arts. That's all she's done her entire life.
Hello, I'm Graham, and I'm playing Tanya Anastasia, who is an elven hunter. Dab hand with a bow. She has some outdoor skills, some very adept sneaky skills, and is an interesting personality, a little bit spiky, a little bit difficult to know, but inside, a good egg.
Kia ora everyone, my name's Anthony, and for this episode I'm playing Ascallion, or Askel for short. He's a tall half-elf warrior mage who comes from the port city of Shabibi, and accordingly his favourite weapon is his ornate cutlass. As a warrior mage, Askel combines his offensive and defensive spells along with his prowess with his cutlass and in unarmed combat.
Kia ora, my name's Pete, and I'll be playing Nicholas in this episode. Nicholas is a common man and Mentat by profession. That means he is a spell user, and he uses spells from the mentalism realm. Nicholas is a quiet and sort of unassuming sort of fellow. He doesn't like to draw attention to himself.
And there we go. Those are the players, those are the faces, and the brains behind the characters that you can see up on screen. So usually in our games, at the beginning of the week, I send out a request for the players to mull over a few character development questions. These are designed to kind of tease out a bit more about the characters, what they're thinking, what they like, where they're from, blah, 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 blah. On this occasion, we're going to depart a little bit and from that, and instead I've asked the players to come up with an image which explains a little bit more about the characters they're playing. And in a second, each one of the players is going to upload an image about their characters. And the request was an image either of an object that is important to the character concerned, an image that, or an image of a place that is significant, or lastly, an image of a person that is significant to the players. And tonight, we're going to start off, Graham, would you take it away, please? And I'll switch to this screen, and I'll flip backwards and forwards between the character that you're putting up images for. So, who are you starting with, please?
We'll start with Severin.
Severin. So this is this burly-looking chap here. Way you go. If you want to upload that, there we go. And there's an image there up on screen. Fantastic. Talk us through it, please.
So you're looking at Lord Telston of Cranas there. He was he's a local lord where Severin comes from in the far north, in the Northman, and after he packed up and left his village as a young man, Severin took up service to this individual, and who was very much his mentor. Once he left his home, his mother had been away for some period of time and had not returned. He grew tired of the forge and working in the local village, and he set off and fell into service to this man, and really recognised his potential and brought him on and took time to bring him up as a person and as a warrior. And while in his service, however, Severin was kidnapped and for several months, and it pretty much reduced him to his lowest ebb, and that's something he's really carried with him. On his release, he discovered that Telston had been murdered, and that hit Severin very hard. He was very fond of him, really looked up to him, and despite his relative lack of experience, Severin, against the odds, Severin successfully avenged the killing.
Wow.
And took out the individual, and that very much set him on a path of adventuring, of being a sword for hire. It kind of kicked him off into what he started doing before he sort of embarked on this more kind of quest, shall we say, as a sort of hired hand. So this was kind of where it started, but yeah, he's very much thinks very fondly of the man and recognises him, for being very much part of who Severin is in his development.
Cool. Love it.
So moving there to Tanya.
Tanya, so this is this person here. Yep.
Yeah.
Back to the image.
Now, Tanya is she comes from a very wealthy background. However, as a child, she became increasingly a young teenager. She became increasingly wayward and tended to run a little bit amok, and certainly became very interested in in getting out and camping out and hunting and exploring the wider lands around where she lived. And her father sort of gave into her interests and gave her some very formal training about learning outdoor skills, and that started her on a little journey of using a bow. And she remembers very fondly these trips out into the wild where she would go out into the wilderness with one of her father's trusted men, a sort of gamekeeper of sorts, I suppose, a man who taught her the outdoor skills that she now knows, and certainly helped tutor her in a bow and how to hunt and how to move, how to stalk and how to move quietly and so forth. However, on one of these trips, they were set upon by brigands, and certainly her father's man earned his salary and fought many of them off. The individual you see here is someone who Tanya actually killed. It was her first kill. This is the first person she ever killed with her bow. That was as much she contributed to the fight, but she remembers shooting him and the satisfaction that came with that, and watching him die, and so that left a very much an impression upon her that she's not forgotten. And so you see him creeping out of the shadows to surprise them.
Yikes.
Moving on to Neathanol.
Neathanol, and that's for our viewers' benefit. That's Neathanol up on screen there, and then moving back to the image.
So, Neathanol, I don't think probably has spoken much to the party about this. It's acutely personal to her, but she spent a lot of years in the wilderness and was eventually sort of taken in after sort of living rough and living by her wits in the traders' quarter of Jebai Mabeth. She took to thieving, but eventually sort of fell in with a sort of group of fellow thieves and in less religious circles, and she was approached to join the Hidden Blade, which was she's not really discussed this with the party, but it's a secretive cult centered on the worship of a certain goddess, and she sort of fell in with those people and made a tight group of, I guess, friends. Probably, Neathanol doesn't make friends very easily, but tight group. And she met this individual, Kester, and who became her partner and lover over several years. She'd sort of been persecuted over the years for who she was by her family, who were very traditional, and I guess the society that these times are set in is not as progressive as it could be, and she'd suffered for who she was for many years, and found a very happy time where she found someone she really cared for. However, this Kester was, and several other members who were close to her of her order were arrested and executed, which completely destroyed her, really. And she quit Jebai Mabeth and eventually linked up with the party shortly after. But yeah, it's the person she's been closest to in her life, and certainly holds a candle to her and thinks about her a lot.
Picking up a theme here, Graham.
Oh, really?
Bloodshed.
Well, it's hardly surprising. Have you listened to some of your episodes? And finally, for Etienne, this chap here.
This guy, yep.
Is Siente Gilderflower. Gave Etienne his surname. He is a member of the Generalist Order. He's a holy warrior, much like Paladin, much like Etienne, Paladin. And basically, he's responsible really for plucking Etienne out of poverty, out of a wayward way of life, and introducing him to his goddess and teaching him everything he knows. He arrived one day at the hovel where he was staying, and he announced to the group of people who had sort of taking him under sort of semi-servitude that it was the maiden's will that the boy was leaving with him. Combat ensued with those who were essentially had him, who were were kind of owning him at that time. And he felled in that combat. This man felled 5 of his gang single-handedly. The man, now Etienne, then Feistal went willingly, and then over the coming years he was sort of reborn. He became Etienne, and Siente, as his new guardian, sort of revealed to him who he was, the true self, and his purpose, and he wandered with him wildly across the Sea of Sagasta, and introduced him to all sort of manner of possibilities in life in all its forms. Embracing his teaching, he found faith, purpose, new passions, and so on and so on and so on. And the goddess entered his heart. And this man was very much his mentor. He's still around, probably. Once sort of Etienne had sort of come of age and become who he is, they shook hands, and he took on his own mantle of wandering and following the maiden's will. But he thinks about him a lot and hopes that one day they'll meet again, and hopes that he's doing well. But so he's extremely fond of the man. He's a kind of his saviour and his mentor, and that's my lot.
Excellent. Well met. Thank you. Some great images there. Who would you like to hear from?
Oh, let's go with Gray.
So Gray, this is for our viewers. This is Gray here. And Aidan, you very kindly sent through image before, which I'm just going to pop up on screen. I'm popping it up now. Aidan, the floor's yours.
Hi. So as I've previously stated in many of these little chats, Gray has had quite troublesome paths. He's dealt with a lot of some pretty awful things, and probably the worst thing he had to deal with was when his parents were murdered when he was very young. He doesn't have a lot to remember them by, but he does have this dagger, which was actually found at the scene where they were discovered. He keeps it with him as a potential clue. It has kind of a distinct look and also a distinct smell that he remembers when he holds it. When he first picked it up, he's got quite a good sense of smell, and it smells. At the time, it smelled quite strongly of tobacco and some kind of spice, but he still hasn't figured out what that spice is. But he hopes that one day it might be able to help lead him to the culprit.
Excellent, thank you very much. Very good.
Yeah.
Who would you like to hear from?
Ooh. I'd love to hear from Demos.
Demos is being played this is Demos here. Demos is being played tonight by Alex, who is filling in for Mason, who's not joining us tonight. Alex, not putting you too much on the spot, maybe not an object, but maybe just anything about Demos's past, maybe you wanted to comment on. If not, can you nominate someone else, please? No problem if not.
I think if Mason was here, she might reference the princess, who Demos really cared for and looked after, and really had a connection with, and probably built a bit of a foundation of trust and companionship, which we see in Demos. And then following on from that, when the princess married, the husband was quite volatile to him and quite dismissive and didn't want him around. So I think we also see that in Demos with his fear of connection, and fear of getting hurt, and perhaps not putting himself out there as he would like. I don't know if that's fair. That's just what I've been thinking about Demos.
Excellent, thank you. And again, my thanks to you for playing someone else who's not here tonight.
Pleasure.
Who would you like to hear from?
Oh, Tarquin.
Tarquin. So for our viewers, this is Tarquin, and Tarquin, you also shared an image with me, which is quite heavily pixelated, but I'll pop it up on screen. Tarquin, the floor is yours.
And the pixelation probably isn't such a problem. So this is not a place, but an object. And the object is fire, a relationship with which Tarquin has a kind of a complex understanding. He's only been with the party for 2 days, 48 hours, not long. The more observant in the party, both parties will recognise he sleeps poorly, and often seems to talk to himself when asleep. He suffers from nightmares, usually of things burning, often a village or villages. However, fire is an important part of Tarquin's life. He's good at making it, he's good at creating it, he's good at manipulating it, and it's an important part of how he sees himself, and that causes him some dilemma at times. It may not be well known to the party, but it's no surprise Tarquin was pretty unkeen to head into a dark cave in the side of a cliff with stuff that smelled a bit like petroleum, and the idea of being in a place that might become alight, somewhat to his shame, fills him with a fear he can't control, and they are places he will avoid at almost all costs.
Excellent, thank you.
And with that, I think I'll pass it over to Leif.
Leif, to Pete.
Pete.
Thank you. Yep, I'll be sharing in the chat.
Sure thing. So that's Leif, your first character, and back to the chat. Give an image.
That, yes, I think it's uploading. There we go. See that one okay?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is the inn called the Blinking Beaver in Dubai Unarden, not to be confused with the Winking Skeever. But this is the inn that that Leif was employed at for a while. So he grew up in the free city of Dubai Unarden, up in the North Sea, where the hero party sort of began their travels. And he lived in Dubai Unarden, and the villages around there. He sort of travelled around with his family. But whilst he was living in Dubai Unarden, he found a job at the Blinking Beaver as a bouncer and as sometimes, cooking sometimes as well. He hasn't got a big skill in cooking, but but he sort of tried his hand at it as well. So quite a what's what I would say, a place with fond memories for him. Basically, there's an image of inside it. Just as you'd expect, a regular inn. He'd go there and he'd sort of meet the locals, know the people, be part of a community basically. And he'd have to put the hard word on and sort of rough people up for of a night. But that's just part of the job. Yeah.
And he also there was a former character in the hero party whose name was Valdez that also was at the same inn, or am I misremembering?
He might well have been. They were good friends. Yeah.
Okay.
He might well have been. Cool. So that's Leif. So good memories there. For Mythan and Chris, I might well need your help with this one. I think I've got most of the details right. So for Mythan, Um, There is a burning wagon. In a previous adventure that Chris gemed, but Nathan was in that, and so it was 40 or 50 years ago. She was actually part of. So was it 20? 20, 40?
20 years ago, yep.
20, oh, my mistake. Yep. So she was in the party that sort of is in the history of our current adventures and campaign. There was the party that discovered the location, or was beginning to discover the location of the library that held these, three huge secrets of the Lords of Arcana. So the ones that are going to be used against the world, basically, two of which that are now troubling by the nation of Turang, are going to be used against by them, that are now troubling the world. So this party was highly sought after. They had specific information that was that they'd sort of come across, and people were starting to find out that this information about this location of this library that probably does contain immensely powerful information. So I think we were in the free city of Travern, which is actually in the Sea of Quintana, sort of where parties currently are. And we'd been engaging with a scholar to try and get more information, and he'd asked us to do a job sort of outside the city in a sort of a house that was haunted or something. It was sort of, okay, we'll go along with this. And halfway through our negotiations, there were more people joined the discussion, and they were people wanting the information from us. From, I don't know, I can't remember, but politically motivated people. And the fight ensued, and it went badly for us. Very badly. It was looking very grim. But suddenly, I can't remember, actually, who triggered this. Someone outside of our party. A burning wagon came bursting through the wall of the house, and people narrowly got out of its way, and certainly it sort of broke the fight up, and I think we were victorious in the end. But thank goodness to the burning wagon. What did I miss?
Yeah, pretty much spot on, Pete. It was 20 years ago. It was in Travern. It was when M.E.R.P was 20 years younger. And exactly that she and some companions, originally starting in a place called Shabibi, found some information which ultimately led to the finding of these libraries. So that was 20 years ago. And you've got pretty much all the details right, except it was a bunch of academics, or people paid by academics to try to get this information out of you, that were attacking the house that you're in. And yes, indeed, there was a flaming wagon. That was actually the very last episode we played, and the very last episode we played of that campaign, which was called Divided We Fall. It's back in 2014. But well remembered, Pete.
Thank you. It was a nail-biting episode for sure. Yeah. For Nicholas.
This is Nicholas here for our viewers. That's Nicholas. All's glory.
Thank you.
And the image is
glory.
Here's the image.
So that is a ring that belongs to his family, and this is the item that has started him on this path of adventuring. Basically, it is so in the sort of type of his history. That he's part of a group of people called the M.E.R.P tribes, and in many parts of the world, sort of they are seen as sort of quite basic or sort of barbaric, basically. And he and his family, of course, are quite removed from that. They're now a lot more sophisticated. But one tradition of the M.E.R.P tribes is this idea of a werehull, which is sort of, I'm not sure about exactly the purpose, but sort of a proving of oneself, where a person will go from one tribe, travel to a place of another, and steal an important object from someone, from another, blue tribe or M.E.R.P people's family. And they are trying to, I believe, get back to their hometown or get away with it, basically. And the family that's been stolen from has to send out their people and to try and it's a wild goose chase, basically, trying to hunt them down and get it back.
Yeah, cat and mouse.
Cat and mouse, yeah, and that's what Nicholas is trying to do. I mean, he's very unsuited to it. It's not his idea of fun, and he doesn't have hold with any of this tradition stuff. It's just nonsense to him. But his mother was insistent. to uphold the family honour. So there's the ring that he is pursuing. This fellow, Gildwin O'Cathan of Kinsale, is the next image, and that is the person that he is pursuing. He's got a tattoo of a blue horse on his back, and that is the person that Nicholas is wanting to, it's sort of fall onto his radar, but end of the world is sort of taking precedence. But the Twilight Party is heading to somewhere in the region of Kinsale, which this guy is from. And so Nicholas is just going to be, will have been telling the party about this and asking them to keep an eye out and understand that if he suddenly says, "That's the guy, kill him," then hopefully people will get what he means. And that's Nicholas.
Excellent. Thank you, Pete. Who's next?
Oh, can we please hear from Askell?
Right. Make sure this works.
It's Askell right there for our viewers. And back to the image for Askell.
That work?
There we go.
Oh,
Yep.
There we go. Askell. This is Askell himself. And it's just sort of symbolising Askell has this thing where he sees visions. And interestingly, it's from if he touches a person or an object. But interesting, since he joined the Twilight Party, although not that many months ago, he hasn't had any visions. That could be that haven't reminded the GM that we need to play that, but that's probably more the point. But so I thought it would be a good one to lead with as the first image of we need to have some visions at some point.
Excellent. Funny you should say that. Excellent. Thank you very much. I think we're nearly at the end. Am I right?
Yes, Stara. We need to hear from Stara.
We do. Who is playing this character? This is Jada up on screen. And like a couple of the other players, Stara, you've sent through an image beforehand. And I've just put it up on my screen. I'm putting it on now for you to talk to. Oops, no, that one. Yep.
So Jada was given by her parents to a monastery when she was 1, and this is something they tucked in her basket. So it was a hard life for Jada. I think they actually paid the monastery until she was 11, and then it just stopped. But her whole life was hard. It's just porridge, cold breakfast, praying, martial arts. And eventually she learned how to heal people. That was it, her whole life. So she carries this around, and it kind of gives her hope. Maybe she'll find them, but she's not even sure if she wants to. But yeah, the symbols on it is not familiar to her from any of the lands around her, so it's all a bit sort of confusing what this is. But it gives her hope. She carries it around everywhere she goes.
Very cool. Very cool. Nice one, guys. That was really cool. Thank you for taking time and energy and thought to pop into those images. I learned a lot. That was really cool. Excellent. So usually at this stage I hand over to, it's usually the long-suffering Pete, who provides a recap of what happened. It's actually been two whole weeks since we played last. So I've taken it on myself to provide a bit of an update on what has happened, what happened last session at least. I'm going to use a few images to do so. I'm going to dance around a little bit, and there's a lot of images that I'm looking at, something like 80 of them. I'm not going to share all 80, but I've got quite a few up on screen. So if I just take a minute or so to find the right image, you know why. So, long story short from the GM, you had been on an island. You'll recall Jewel Island. You've decided that you no longer want to be on the island, and ultimately, after a series of events, including the tragic death of your companion Keros, you've elected to summon some ships to come in, one of these ships, in fact, to come in and to transport you away. You are met on board the ship by a very jovial, very affable person, this guy here. Seemed very friendly, and he seemed to know a lot about each one of you. And described a lot of what you had done as a group, and also a little bit about each of you as individuals. He didn't give his name. He went on to explain that the situation that you're in on Jewel Island was a test of sorts in a wider context, and your party had come in second in that test, and as such, you had access to his masters. And again, he didn't go into depth about who his masters were, but his masters. Some of his master's resources. Those resources included connections, so useful people dotted all over the world, and travel. And that could be mundane travel, such as on the ship that he is currently, or that you are currently on at the moment, or magical travel using something in this world known as a navigator column, ancient, just jet black pieces of glass, almost stone or glass, embedded in the ground, incredibly heavy. People, in fact, you've heard stories of people trying to move them and bad things happen to people who try to move them, and they're dotted all around this world, and they hark back to ancient times. Putting your hand on the column and saying in any language, I desire a navigator, and a navigator, a person will magically teleport to your location, and for a fee, a very hefty fee, they will transport people to other of these navigator columns, or potentially elsewhere too, for an even higher fee. So this gentleman said the instruction he gave you was that you may utilize both the contacts and travel that his masters are able to provide. The request is that you give at least 7 days notice to allow the next person down the chain. He talked about things being compartmentalized, with people in one location knowing a certain amount of information, and then they have to tell the next people what you're planning on doing. So at least 7 days to allow that to happen. You can then travel, and generally relatively safe, and generally depending on where you are, relatively surreptitious travel, so likely under the radar. After some discussion, you've decided to head to the closest port to you, which is a day and a half away, the free city of Landaina, which is, by all accounts, and I'll describe Landaina a little bit more in a second, a pretty miserable, flood-prone city on the edge of the Ala-Meng, or the Green Festa, a massive swamp that covers huge part of this world. You travelled there. Probably one thing to note, as you travelled, or while you're on board the ship, Keros, as mentioned, was slain. Jada, your trusty healer, was able to assist Keros with some healing, which, even though Keros was dead, because Keros lost both her lungs and her heart, Jada was able to freeze, or to preserve Keros's brain. So in this game there are statistics, 10 statistics, 6 mental, 4 physical. Jada was able to halt the deterioration of Keros's brain, and largely limit a lot of the physical deterioration of Keros's body. Her limbs are protected, and certain key of her organs are protected, but her torso and her face are not protected. And even in the short time, the day and a bit that you've been travelling, Keros is starting to rot. Each hour that passes, Keros's stats creep down. Once one of Keros's permanent stats hits 0, that is effectively at a point where nothing really can be done, short of divine intervention or calling on incredibly potent magic to attempt to bring Keros back to life. The party appear to be keen to attempt to do so, to attempt to resurrect Keros, and they have a plan of how they plan to do that, which they may get onto in a second. After travelling from Jewel Island, you went on board this gentleman's ship. This one here, to the free city of Landaina. And I'll just put an image up of the city here and just a bit of a description. And I'll flick up some other images as well in a second. So just to refresh your memories. As your unnamed ship slowly glides into the murky waters of Landaina's harbour, a heavy blanket of humidity envelops you, clinging to your skin like a damp shroud. The air is thick, incessant drone of mosquitoes, and the cacophony of croaking frogs, creating a symphony of swamp sounds that assaults your senses. Peering out on deck, you are met with a dismal sight. Landaina, a small free city nestled amidst the swamps southwestern Katana Sea, seems to elude an aura of decay and desolation. Crumbling buildings rise precariously from the mire, their weather-worn facades bearing the weight of centuries of neglect. The once sturdy stone structures now stand as hollow shells, their ancient foundations slowly succumbing to the relentless march of time. The streets are sparsely populated, and those that do wander about seem burdened with the weight of poverty and despair. Their movements are sluggish, their expressions weary, as if resigned to the bleak reality of their existence. The harbour itself offers little respite from the oppressive atmosphere. Only a handful of ocean-going vessels are moored there, their hulls caked with grime and barnacles, a testament to the hardships endured during their journeys across the seas. The architecture of Landaina reflects its troubled history. Ancient stone buildings, their grandeur faded with time, stand side by side with more recent wooden structures, more hastily erected upon their crumbling foundations. The juxtaposition is jarring, a stark reminder of the city's gradual decline. The heat is oppressive, suffusing the air with tangible heaviness that threatens to crush your spirits. Sweat beads upon your brow and trickles down your spine in rivulets. Every surface feels sticky with moisture, every breath struggle against the stifling air. And there are the waters, murky and stagnant, where the swamplands merge with the brackish expanse of the Katana Sea. They offer no respite from the heat, no solace from the relentless humidity. In the distance, you catch sight of what you initially mistook for rotting logs, only to realise with a shiver of unease they are massive crocodiles, lurking ominously beneath the surface. Welcome to Landaina. Despair hangs heavy in the air, and every shadow conceals a darker truth. Just a few more images, I'm not going to go crazy on this, but a few more images. Bit perhaps of the harbour, street scene, a bit more of the harbour. Another street scene. Don't really see this from the docks, but just a bit of a flavour. Strange gods, some of them strange to you at least, and various signs of people in disrepair. The waters that you came in by were kind of looking a bit like this. Pretty swampy, pretty foul, pretty unpleasant. And kind of that's also a bit of an indication of what you saw before you rounded this corner and came into Landaina's harbour. In a second or so, we are going to start the game, but just a couple of last questions from me, and then we're going to not start the game properly and allow 15 minutes of discussion in real time of what your characters would have decided to do before they arrived in port. Just a couple of last points. It is 6 a.m, so you've just heard the 6 bells toll. It's grey. It's slightly overcast. There's a moderately steady rainfall, which you can hear. There's virtually no breeze. So 6 a.m. almost exactly. The boat at this stage, the ship, the unnamed ship that you're on, is pulling up to the docks. It hasn't actually arrived at the docks just yet, but it's just coming up towards them. The Twilight party, along with Tarquin, are on deck, with the hero party down in the cabin. And speaking of the cabin, I have a view of it, or I had a view of it. There we go. And in terms of the state of play, what I'm going to do is ask for any general discussion. If there's none, that's fine. For about 15 minutes to decide perhaps what you would have done in the day and a bit that while you've been travelling, and I will be timing this, and then we're into start of the game, and I'll be keeping an eye on the clock too. And then once we've actually started, I'll go through around each character and ask them what specifically they're doing. Yeah, I'll throw the floor open, start now for 15 minutes to have a chat.
Just can you clarify what our agreements were with Jackin? The arrangements we'd ask him to make for us, just to set us up on what, just so before we have our 15-minute discussion.
Sure thing. So, speaking to this man who introduced himself with a range of names, Jackin was one of them. He was very clear to delineate between the two parties, the hero party and the Twilight party. The instruction that you gave to him, and sorry, Pete, very good point of clarification that I missed, was the instruction that the hero party gave to him is that their destination is Tarak Nev, and they would like him to investigate over the next 7 or 10 days or whatever it is, the best jumping off point to go from where they are now to Tarak Nev, and that's his task, to within the next 7 days to find you somebody who can help you to then lead you on to the next person to get you to Tarak Nev. That could be from this city, it could be from somewhere else. That wasn't confirmed. You didn't have a clear indication yourselves of where that might be. The suggestion was just going to a map. Suggestion of where that might be. That could be likely to be Landaina, where you are now. Where you are now. Osot, possibly Severit, another free city, or maybe the kingdom of Vetlamit, with its capital Corgi. You know that Tarak Nev is down here somewhere where the cursor is. So that was the arrangement with the hero party. In terms of this gentleman's arrangement with Twilight, he had said within 7 days. It might be less than 7 days, but certainly, definitely within 7 days, he would take you on this ship to a smaller city or small town really, town down the coast called Osot. There is apparently at Osot one of these navigator columns, as there is in Landaina, and from Osot you would travel to firstly Jebel Ritana, where you've been previously and where you kept some money in a bank that we're keen to get, and then from Jebel Ritana on to a place called Ras Garrett. Hopefully that's clear. Any questions on that?
Can I just clarify? The arrangements were for us to be met by someone at Jebel Ritana and to be concealed by them whilst we were getting our money to the best of our ability, and then to be met at Ras Garrett by another of their operatives. Cool. Thank you.
Correct.
That's great.
So the whole idea of this system is each person hands off to the next person, and all they care about is the next person that they need to pass you on to. So definitely, it might be less than 7 days to go to Osot, and Osot is not far. It's half a day or so, maybe a little bit further up the coast, and also this gentleman will inform the hero party where they'll be leaving from.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Any other clarification questions before we start the 15 minutes? Oh, go for it.
I'll start by, I guess Leif would be particularly vocal in saying his priority, he thinks the whole group's priority should be to investigate the possibilities of resuscitating Kiros, which involves getting her preserved, and then seeking out this herb to restore stats. Other than that, I think we just gather our equipment and stuff. Like, buy supplies.
So I think Tarquin would want to talk to Etienne, who he trusts, to let him know he's spent a number of weeks in the city before making it to Jewel Island, and so it's a bit of an idea of the layout of the town and some people in it. And we'll want to know if anybody else in the party has the lowdown on Landaina and how this information might be helpful. And so the first thing I guess you'd want to know is, does anybody else know Landaina, or is this a pretty new city to them?
New to my three, Leif, Dan, and Nicholas.
New to mine.
I think Tarquin would let them know he'd spent a number of weeks here. He's got some contact. When he thinks about what's been said about saving Karios, he knows some people who know some things. He might know some people who might be helpful, but would want to bring probably Jadar with him if he was going to go and explore this, because he doesn't really understand exactly what's required. So though he might be able to find the right people, he wouldn't really know how to talk about what is required. And so taking Jadar would be the way to go. He'd notice that this is not the most savoury city in the world. That the people who run it are basically totally corrupt. And so having somebody who's good at close quarters, is good in a brawl, looks scary, and is able to kind of have a presence would be useful too. I guess he'd probably look at Gray at this point, but he'd be open to thoughts. And you'd tell the tin can he'd stick out like a tin can and probably wouldn't be the best person to come.
That's great. I mean, that's really good that you've got contact.
Suggestion. Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody who's not actively involved may as well just stay out of sight. To be honest, even Twilight party, and I suggest that those that do go ashore make some effort to disguise themselves. Headscarf for Jada, or might be a good idea. Just try and look a little bit different.
I think that's very sensible. I think Tarquin would tell the party he'd take some coppers and some silver with him, because bribery will be a matter of course. But having someone with a bit of muscle is probably going to be important almost no matter where they go. You'd want to clarify that what we need is a cleric and a healer. A cleric, most importantly, to preserve Karios, and a healer potentially to use this reanimation herb. Is that right?
We'd need a healer to heal her heart and lungs before using the reanimation.
Okay. And I guess at this point he'd also ask if there's any way that he or somebody who went into the city could communicate with those on the boat, if there's negotiation that's required to find out what the party wants. Happy to be the conduit, not really very happy to be the decision maker. He's only known this crew for 2 weeks. And I guess here Tarquin really would look at Etienne for advice about what he'd want to do.
Well, Etienne would say he needs to, much as he would want to escort and come with Tarquin, he's got to stay out of sight for the good of the mission, really, as is the rest of the hero party. But so it's great that you're
not conceal herself.
The Athanol's unconscious, unfortunately.
Good point.
Is there a mechanism for communicating across distances? So if Tarquin and Jada and someone else, like Gray or someone, is in the city, and let's say I find a healer who's happy to do it for something, do we have a mechanism for communicating with people on the boat, short of walking all the way back?
Potentially we.
Yeah, well, or we could simply ask if someone on the crew would be willing to be a runner. I was going to suggest too that whether we ask our jovial man whether he would permit someone on his gang who is skilled in the art of bartering or to accompany you, because if you don't actually have a skill, that's going to be, and particularly if you after you've got to bargain for people's services and so forth. Not only that, once hopefully we're successful with Karios, after that we might want to pick up some goods, and again that bartering could come in really super handy.
Yep. So he's pretty good at charming people into getting the way he wants. And if there's time, he might nip in to see one of his old mates for a bit of gambling, which seems to be a way to easy money.
But I think if there is someone who specifically has that skill,
does anyone in the party have that skill?
None of us have that. That's the thing. So there's a bit of a mission in our collective skill base. It means that if we buy anything, we struggle. So if we could employ someone on the boat to help with that, that would be a really good idea. Even charm. I mean, charm's good, but it would be better to have actually someone to have the actual skill.
Yep.
Great idea.
So I guess we could ask about that.
Would Jada and Ray be happy to come into town?
Yeah.
Yeah, keen.
I think what I'd say to them is I think our first stop probably would be the inn, then to have a chat to some of my informants. And I'd ask the party if they know anything about a Dio temple or a temple of Hera, both of which are standout buildings in this rather rotting city. And if the party has any inside knowledge about whether either of these temples might be a good place to visit, or if we should go and ask around first.
I think we're in your hands, to be honest with you. None of us have visited before. So, I mean, we could ask our hosts again. I think they may have some contacts in the city. Presumably, they've got contacts everywhere. So, first point of call is, hey, can we speak to your man in town, perhaps? Who may be well connected, and if he's not connected, maybe we could fall on your connections.
Can I check? Yeah, we mentioned something about a crystal to restore vitality to Karios. Is that something we know anything more about? Or might we want to ask our very well-informed nameless chap if he knows anything about this and if that might be accessible?
Probably. So a couple of things from the GM that your characters would know. Firstly, Hera is very well known to all of you. It was Hera that you mentioned, wasn't it?
Correct. That's right. There's a temple of Hera in the city.
Yep. So so Hera is extremely well known to all of you. She is one of the old gods, so she is an old god, and she is indeed the goddess of renewal, known as the Sacred Mother, the Reverend Lady of Spirits, the Great Mender, and she is in fact the patron saint of healing, rest, etc. The other faith that you mentioned is a very weird one. They're called Dio, and they are followers of Dio, also known as the Way, is a strange Eastern religion from the lands of the Easterling kings. It's really about enlightenment and finding enlightenment, and it's about someone that's called Dio, and the common knowledge, through a lot of meditation and introspection, Dio managed to find essentially the secret to life, the universe, and everything, and pass that on to his followers. And Dio priests blend this Eastern meditation and wisdom. It's an unusual faith for most of you at least. Most of you are unfamiliar with it. In terms of the last thing on the crystals, we'd probably have to ask Jadar for a roll, a herb knowledge roll, to see if she was aware of them. But she would be aware, with her healing knowledge, strong healing knowledge, that there is some form of both medication and so herbs or something you can buy, and also spells that can restore. And again, this is metagaming. This is gaming terms. It's not. To put it in metagaming terms, to restore temporary power statistics, restoring permanent statistics. There is only one herb or item that can do that. Whether Jadar knows exactly the specifics of what they are, we'd probably have to wait for a roll to find that out.
Can I check what language do the DO followers speak?
Sure. They speak a range of languages known to the Sun Kush, the Easterling Kings. So those would be things like Lothaeg, which is the speech of the Easterlings. There are 10 major dialects. They also speak Balan Zol Spak, which is basically known as the speech of the wise men. There's kind of like a low speech of the Confederation of the Easterling Kings called Kant. And then lastly, a major trading tongue is called Vasten Spark or Eastern tongue, and that's more of a trading language. Not, moderately common. How would you describe Vasten Spark? Vasten Spark, used by merchants and traders for administration purposes. Approximately 70% of the Sun Kush use it as their main tongue, so it is quite widely spoken.
And I presume that the followers of Hera are going to speak something that everyone speaks.
Westron, yeah. Most likely.
But we
And
maybe.
I guess Tarquin would point out that he'd understand when he saw what was going on in the temple, but although he could pick up bits and pieces of what was going on at the Dio temple, basically didn't understand the language.
But if we can lean on our man, whoever that contact is in town, to help you,
okay.
I think that'll be.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
Just as a third.
Sorry, go for it.
Just as a third priority, if time affords us, is whether we want to see if there's any seat of learning in this city where we could pick up additional spell lists, or transcribe them, or whatever it takes.
Yep. And are there specific things you'd want us to look to buy for? I'd say that this place is a bit of a rubbish hole, but actually the market's pretty impressive. So if there are specifics, and people have got a few dollars,
if we have a friend who can do the trading role, that'd be great. I suspect. Well, I think it'd be good to know what magic items are in the magic item shops. The big emporiums in town, flashy kind of boutiques that are no doubt around. But yeah, there'll be some other equipment-y stuff. I think probably herbs for both parties on their onward journeys, and in light perhaps of recent events, there's some stuff that maybe we want to invest in. I don't know, but I think now's an opportunity, obviously, to stock up.
Okay.
So this is a conversation that was happening on the boat. Did you also want to have a conversation? I don't want to interject if people are still wanting to speak amongst characters, but did you also want to have that conversation with your unnamed friend as well?
Doris, yeah.
Okay. So sometime in the last 24 hours, perhaps when Etienne and Tarquin were up on deck, or whenever, you've certainly had ample opportunity. He hasn't been keeping away from you to speak with them. Who speaks with them, and what do you say over the last 24 hours, 48 hours?
Well, I guess maybe Etienne and Tarquin, they're quite chummy with them. They might sort of say, we've got some inquiries in town. Obviously, we want to tell him broadly what we want to do. Could your man in this city help with that. And maybe someone with some good trading skills and some language skills help us out a little bit, and with that, and help us guide us around town.
Yes, well, of course. I mean, we have a number of eyes and ears in Landaina. What are your imperatives? What can I assist with when we first arrive? What's the most important to you?
Well, as we just discussed, I think.
Well, hang on. You discussed a lot, and I heard everything from healing herbs to priests to all kinds of things. So, can you define that a bit more? What do you tell them?
I think we'd want to make contact with a cleric who might be able to help us preserve Carios. And if that requires a visit to the Temple of Dio, then somebody who speaks the language fluently. We might want to know what healers are in town who might be able to help us further with her. Wherever they might be, and then potentially someone with bartering skills to help us buy merchandise, but potentially we could do that after addressing the issue with Carios.
Okay. Well, he says, look, absolutely. As mentioned to you several times now, it does often take time, generally a number of days, to connect. Whether I can find somebody, I mean, how rapidly are you wanting somebody in Landaina?
Well, if we need, the healing is quite urgent. So, I mean, we need to do that immediately. If there is not, if we can't make contact with someone today and right now, is there anyone on this vessel who has some passing knowledge of the city and the languages?
So quite urgent. So is the preservation urgent, or is the healing urgent? What is your priority?
Preservation.
A cleric. Well, certainly. Look, when we dock tomorrow morning, this conversation obviously was happening last night. Look, I'll get the word out promptly, and we have a few people that we use as runners. They're not our main contacts here, most knowledgeable, but if speed is of import, we'll see what we can do. Yes, we certainly have people that we can connect you with. They are, as with any of our contacts, they are guides. They are there to advise, support, translate if necessary, show you around. In terms of interceding on your behalf, in terms of negotiating on your behalf, that is not something that myself or my masters can assist with. We'll leave that up to you. We will certainly introduce you to people that you'll need to speak to if you are wanting to make any kind of purchase. Should we not be able to find a guide promptly? Yes, one of my men, Wallow, and you've come across Wallow before. You've seen him around ships. You've certainly heard his name mentioned. He's this guy here. Wallow is he's not from Landaina, but he knows his way around. He lived here for a while. If we can't get one of my guides promptly, then Wallow could be an alternative for you. How does that please you, Etienne?
I think that sounds very good, and I think Tarquin would lean over to Etienne and say, I think what we should do is the three people from the party should head into town. We should suggest to this chap we meet at the Drowned Rat. And we can use that as our point of location. It's central and means we can get to work and they can at the same time. We can head immediately in while he's looking for a guide. We can gather some intel, go back to the Drowned Rat. We should be able to be there by 10 if we dock at 6. That will give us 4 hours to gather intel, and hopefully we'll be able to find a cleric before midday.
Sounds good. Sorry, Chris, did you say that he was willing to help with the training or wasn't?
No. Not going to do it.
Yeah.
All right,
so I guess we'd ask him if he's happy with that as a plan, if he knows where the Drowned Rat is, and I'd tell him I'm sure that him or his men know the captain.
I'm sure that we can arrange that. Okay. Any last comments from anybody else? Anything from Gray, perhaps, or anybody else that needs to be touched on before we?
Ray's happy to help if it's going to help Keros. He's not happy to leave there, so he would just charge anyone who's staying behind that they have to take very good care of her.
All right. Very good. Okay. Any other things that people would have talked about on their voyage before we kick off? Going once.
Demos might clarify, with the oar, he's got his spear back now, right?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, so where's the oar? He's quite attached to that oar, and in terms of weapons, he's fully set, right?
He's got his spear back, and he's got his 2 swords. Yep.
Okay, so he's been... And the animals in the party, what's their situation?
Wingy was given quite a lot of. So Wingy is, for listeners that don't know, Wingy is Gray's peregrine falcon, and Gray was giving him quite a lot of attention. Quite a lot of attention on the boat. And Victory is in mourning, basically. Has not left Keros' side.
But just before we
despite Keros getting slightly ripe.
Just before we dock, I'd have a chat to Jada and Gray, and suggest to them that I'm going to empty my pack, but take an empty pack with me. I'm going to leave my bow and arrow on the boat. I'm going to leave my short sword because I have 2 daggers. We may get into trouble, but we don't want to stand out like sore thumbs. And that the soldiers here are corrupt. So well concealed and useful weapons might be the way to go. I think Tarquin would probably take a good look at Gray and say, you've got my back, I've got your back, right? He would have picked up on a little bit of tension over the last 2 days.
Gray would nod.
Okay. All right. Very good.
I'll just say after hearing that discussion and preparations, Leif would find a quiet moment to talk to Etienne, and he is aware that we've only known Tarquin a couple of days, and he would be seeking reassurance. I suppose Mithan will be standing in on the conversation, seeking reassurance that Etienne would vouch for Tarquin, and this is quite an important thing to be doing. This is Keros' perhaps recovery, so Leif is concerned. Seeks reassurance.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Etienne knows, he's a good egg. Maybe got a few kind of eccentricities, but he's a good soul, and I'm sure he seems willing enough to represent us and get some stuff done around town on our behalf. And he's acutely aware of how serious it is to act and do everything we can for Karios.
Enough, Leif. Thank you.
All right. Very good.
Askell would be curious to just get a bit of info out of Tarquin about bathhouses, wash areas, pubs and taverns.
Okay, so I think what Tarquin would say is, depends a little on what you're after. Couple of decent taverns in town. If what you're looking for is a chat, a slap on the back, a few beers, and a good feed, you could come with us to the Drowned Rat, which is in the Market District, and it's where we'll start. If you feel like staying close, there is a decent inn on the waterfront, and that is close, the Whispering Reed, so you'd be close to the boat if there were any problems or concerns. And if you're feeling like a bit of nookie, there's a whole section of town set up just for that. But he'd warn him that if you're going there, you've got to be on your game in every way, because that is an area where anything could happen.
Oh, yep. Askell will be also interested. Where's the slums, where the poor folk, the stupid hang out?
So I think he'd tell Askell that there's a whole section in the middle of town close to the market called the Old Quarter. The Old Quarter is a difficult part of town and abuts the residential district. So that's where essentially the poor live, are in the residential district. The old quarter is also a difficult place to be. And Tarkle would probably let him know that cities are where he's most comfortable. But even there he had difficulty. And if he found himself drifting towards an area called the Shadowed Alleyways, he'd strongly suggest he steer clear. And I think he'd say you're entering at your own risk, both from the guards and the people they're guarding you from.
Right, cool. Thanks for that.
All right. Lovely. Any other discussion that would have taken place before the boat docks?
I think, like, Severin would probably just reiterate that we are all wanted by most of the spy agencies in the known world, both parties. People are actively seeking us, and we know that we as we've discovered very recently, we've been traced everywhere we've been, and that people have been feeding back information. And if it is possible, at all possible, we don't want to be detected while we're here, because that will endanger our ongoing missions and possibly our lives. So he strongly suggests that everyone who doesn't actually physically need to leave this vessel remains on it, because it could just really damage our what we do next. So, and I guess he'd be really keen to help in any way if Tarquin feels that people need to go with him, and that's fine. But we need to go to some degree of effort to make, certainly if it is Grey and Jada, to make them look very different and put them in different clothes and cover them up as much as possible. Even put a shirt on Grey. I know. Cover up those tattoos, make him look really different. Put some makeup on him, bit of lippy, whatever it takes. He'd be So I mean, that would be his point, strongly made.
I think Tarquin would reiterate he needs someone who knows what they need, because that's not him. He doesn't want to get it wrong. And he doesn't absolutely need muscle and doesn't need Grey, but it would certainly help. And brawling's not his strength, so if things go south. Yeah.
Lovely. I'm going to call it there, guys, for discussion on board the boat, unless anybody has something absolutely vital that hasn't been said. Going once, going twice. Okay, at very long last. But that was important to clear up a few of those things. Let's start the game. So, as described, the unnamed vessel is pulling into port. Those characters mentioned, Twilight plus Tarquin, are up on deck, and the city becomes slowly more visible in the grey light of dawn, and the boat pulls up, or begins to pull up alongside docks, and as you'll get accustomed to over the next little while, I'm wanting one brave person to make a roll and see how and if you're able to dock this port. M.E.R.P, please.
No,
It's pure dumb luck.
Uh, 37.
37. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
37. Great. Thank you. Cool. So, 37. Yeah, so as the ship is about to come in to port, at the very last second, a small, what appears to be fishing small fishing boat, not like a dinghy or anything like that, but actually a boat with a mast that was otherwise almost out of vision. It's a lot smaller and lower down in the water than you, but it was actually ahead of you in the queue. And there's a bit of shouting on board your unnamed vessel because they are intending to dock, and there's some pretty harsh words said, and there's nearly a collision. So the two boats nearly collide. Basically, you about touch the sides of each ship kind of touch each other and branch off, and unfortunately they manage to get the spot. This fishing vessel manages to get the spot, and rather unfortunately, tick tock, 30 whole minutes go past until your vessel is able to turn around in the bay and come back to the rather dilapidated space on the rather dilapidated ports, wharves. One of the ones that looks safe. There are quite a few which are half falling into the water, and actually tie up. A second. The boat is moored. Officials and people on shore kind of shuffle over, a couple of guards in rusted armour, very bored-looking expressions, along with some official in what was once probably a very nice frilled shirt, dripping with sweat and with a large ledger book. You're presuming some kind of local authority, harbour master or something, comes alongside the vessel. I'm going to go. So as the ship docks, I'm going to go through what each character does as that happens, and starting off with Graham. You had a question.
Yeah, I was going to, before we urge everyone but Tarquin to just get out of sight, to be honest with you. To get if they will, certainly all my characters will be below deck, and Severin would urge the rest of the Twilight party to get out of sight. There's no point being seen.
Cool. Does that? And what do your four characters do?
Well, they'll do that. They'll all be below deck. Etienne plans on taking some hopperfoot and seeing if he can commune with his deity. After we've figured out what we're doing, he's going to stay on board. Once he's seen if he can do that, he's really looking for some divine intervention for Karios. It's a long shot, but he's going to pray for it.
Yep.
Then, when Yathinos is unconscious, then he will kind of basically find some people on board to play dice with, sing some songs, and drink heavily. And Severin will stay out of sight completely and brood. Tenya will likewise understands the importance of that and will, I don't know, do some carving or something. Just relax and stay out of sight.
Cool, done. Great. Moving on to Askell. Askell, you're up on deck.
Yeah, I think he's just sort of checking out what Tarquin said about one of the pubs being local, so he's probably trying to eyeball it from the deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a.
Feeling thirsty?
Feeling thirsty. Give me a perception roll.
I know the ship's full of booze as well, but there's a difference, you know. As you know, you've got to go to the bar.
Totally.
95.
95 must, unfortunately. What's his perception?
Is plus. Oops. Plus 31.
Cool. Yeah. He definitely doesn't see an inn. The one that
Tarquin?
That Tarquin had described was definitely an inn. He described it as the Whispering Reed Inn. So he doesn't see an inn immediately, but he does see couple of pretty seedy-looking places where people are sitting outside in the steamy. It's 6 a.m. in the morning, by the way. Sitting outside, 6:30 now. By the time the boat docks, having something to drink. So there appears to be some drinking establishments, but not an inn that he can see so far. Anything else he's doing?
Okay. No, he's just scoping it out.
Cool. Done. Well done. What is Demos doing, please?
Demos is keeping his spear very close.
Mm-hmm.
And he will stay out of sight as instructed and wait to be called on, but definitely ready to do whatever needs to be done, whether that's staying or going.
Cool.
Yeah. So no big actions at the minute.
Yeah, cool. All right. Thank you. Going down my list, Jada, what are you up to, please? So you are up on deck currently.
Tarquin's going on his own first day. Oh, am I going with Tarquin? I'm going with Tarquin. So I will pack up, put my cover my face. Guess I have to hide my weapon. I do have a dagger. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Make for Tarquin.
Okay, sure thing. Fantastic. What's Gray doing?
Well, if Gray's going to be going, he'll be out of sight but he'll be looking through his things and trying to find some kind of fabric to cover up his skin and his nipples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'd just be trying to prepare and trying to empty his bag if he can, of anything he doesn't need, just stowing it away somewhere safe, so that he's just got a light pack to go with him.
Does he have something to wear?
I think he had a shirt that he borrowed from someone. Last time when they saw that really rich guy in that
Leif would leave him a shirt.
Yeah. It'll be a bit tight, but
yeah, we'll all participate in making him look different for sure, lending him bits.
Yeah.
Both and Jada, different scarves, different clothes.
yeah, he'll be trying out different accents as well to hide his voice.
Okay. Very good. Okay, thank you. And then I think lastly, Pete, your 3 characters. What are they doing, please?
Leif would help with lending stuff to anyone who needs it for a bit of covering up and disguising. He would be caring for Kiros. I don't know if a damp sort of patting down and damp wiping. I don't know if that's helpful. I don't know if that makes things worse or not. Definitely looking after Victory, seeing if he can source some milk for her, and he'd just be sitting with Kiros. Mutane would be doing much the same thing. So staying out of sight. Nicholas would come down from on deck, and he's happy to. He's just enjoying having his legs back.
Yes.
He would. He is wanting to. He'll be doing his normal casting of presence. I'm happy to not make rolls, just as his habit. He would want to. He's wanting to. Next time he sees Jackin, or our friend, he would want to cast a detect illusion spell on him. Just not a big deal. And also he's wanting to do an attunement on both, and he'll take the full amount of time needed. So throughout, at some point during the day, on the scimitar and the ring with the green stone from the flying mage guy.
Had he not already done that?
He was at -80. He definitely didn't attempt it.
I was pretty sure he did it after he got healed. No.
Oh, okay. Possibly. I'm sorry.
Oh, maybe not.
Might not have had time.
Because it took a day, didn't it, for the effective
It took a day for 2 of the things to finish healing him, and also Jada didn't have the power points to renew. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I didn't note it down. So
yeah, I think checking the recording. I think he attempted to attune.
Did he? Yep, sure. Okay.
One of them. He attempted to attune one, and I think he attempted and failed on the scimitar, and he got the same result as everybody else, which was you need to gain some more experience before you can have another look. He hasn't. I'm going on memory here, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I know he tuned one. I'm pretty sure it was or tried to. I don't think he had the opportunity to try the ring, so you can definitely do that.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, great. Several things. Firstly, your host, your friends, whatever you want to call him, comes in and basically just cursing a little bit. It's the first time, other than with some of the discussions he'd had with Severin, where he'd been pressured by Severin, where you see a little bit of ill-tempered from this person. He's obviously frustrated about the fact they've had to circle out again and come in a little bit later into docks. But he said to you basically just as the boat is pulling in, that he'll get his word out to his guides, his contacts promptly, and they will. He'll ask those people to come in the first instance to the ship. Is that right?
No, we want them to come to the drowned rat.
Drowned rat. Okay.
And Tarquin would just check with him. He's all over making sure that the harbour master's appropriately bribed.
Have no fear about that, he says.
Very good.
Okay. Very good. And Pete, you were wanting to cast a spell on this person?
I did want to, but then I read the description of the spell, and it is on a object or place, and he's neither, so no.
Okay. Very good. I would ask you as well to, if you want, to try an attunement on that ring.
Sure thing. Yeah, sorry, now I recall. Yes, thank you.
You think I'm right with that? I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I'm right.
Yeah, because we had a sort of an attunement. Sort of, you have a go at this one, but because we were all taking the maximum amount of time, there was limited time to do it.
Correct.
Yeah, sounds familiar. 76.
76. This is mast, of course. Okay, and what's his skill and attunement?
54.
Okay. What flavour of magic is he, please?
He is mentalism. He's mental!
He is mental. Don't know what the spell and abilities this contains are. You've spent more than 4 hours looking over it. That's a total of that. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so something clicked for you this time. No one else has managed to do it so far, but you've got an insight into what maybe this thing does. It definitely does something. If you give it another 24 hours, and you meditate your attempt for 2 hours, no other activity, you can try again with a +10 bonus, or you can try again without the +10. I'm going to pop the information on what it is into your chat in a second. It'll just take me a minute or so to find it.
Okay.
Coming into your chat, Nicholas, and I'm going to pop it in the Twilight.
Yep.
Yep.
He doesn't have the other one.
Yes, he doesn't. Yep. So therefore, he...
Cool. 24 hours +10 bonus for Nicholas to try again.
Yep. Just
cool.
a second. Coming in. Can you see that on screen? No, you can't. Cool.
Nicholas would share his thoughts anyway, but I'll...
Don't know what it is yet.
Well, true. Cool. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I forgot to say one more thing that Nicholas was going to do, inspired by Etienne. He was also going to pray. Aha!
Ah. Okay.
Very odd for him, but we can do that later, I guess. No.
Yep, sure. Etienne, was there a role associated with your prayer?
There is, yes. It's straightforward probability. So 15% chance of receiving guidance or wisdom under the influence of Hopperfoot, akin to Dream 1.
There you go. Give me a roll, please.
Is this masked or
This is unmasked, so if it's 15 or under, you've learned something.
15 or under? Okay. No.
Okay. No joy on this occasion, but he does enjoy the Hopperfoot.
He'll rub it into his gums.
Excellent. Okay, the boat has docked. As I say, a couple of moth-eaten, rusted, clad watch with rusted weapons and armor, bored out of their minds, are accompanying some kind of official who's speaking to the ship's captain. They come up on board, have a bit of a look around, and some discussion happens. Someone hears the clink of money somewhere, and it appears as though the ship is now permitted to dock in Landaina. And a few of the crew begin to roll off the deck. No one seems particularly keen to venture into town, especially. What do people do now?
Does Severin? So Askell's above deck, right?
Yes.
Can Severin call up and up to him?
He can.
So he'll do that if he can.
Yep. What does he say?
I said, Askell, have you got a moment?
Anthony, you there?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't realise you wanted me to. Yeah. Askell was just standing around on the deck, looking all nautical-like.
Arr, avast.
Severin calls up, and I wondered if we could chat.
Yeah.
He's not going to cut. Will he come down?
Oh yeah. Yep. He's all good. He'll jump down.
Yes, I guess Severin's like, what's your plan, Askell? Because obviously we're trying to keep a low profile. What's your plan while we're in the city?
He's probably keen on just checking out some of the local dock type areas, taverns and pubs.
So Severin will just sort of say, we've been talking a lot about the mission that we've got to do and saving the world and all that. We've got most of the major nations' spy agencies out to try and find out where we are, what we're doing, interrogate and probably kill us. We've recently discovered that we've been followed everywhere we've been. So my suggestion is that we just try and lie low as possible. And for those who don't absolutely need to go anywhere, that we remain on the boat. It's probably for the best. Because, I mean, you're all in on this mission, right?
Yeah. It's just more like Askell's probably looking at it as like we're here for 7 days.
Oh yeah. So Severin says, to be honest, Askell, I'd love to go to the pub. I'd like to look around town. I'd like to go with the others, but this is big shit, right? This is the most important thing you're ever going to do in your life, right? The whole world as we know it depends possibly on what we do. So, if it all goes wrong here, we get spotted. We know that Torvash Pipalis was in this place. It was relatively recently. You can bet there are Tikos spies crawling over this place, and what better place to find out who's just come into town than the docks, right? And maybe if you're wandering around with a big pair of earrings and that you've been seen with us before, that could compromise the party, and intel could get out that we were here, and that starts a little trail off. So what we're aiming to do here is to try and anyone who goes out, who needs to go out, to disguise them as much as possible. But anyone who doesn't need to go out, it's probably better if we stay. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah. Haskell obviously seem a little bit. Oh yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Always keen to check out a new port.
I would think of yourself as a
he's
spy.
all right with it.
Yeah, I'd say try to think of yourself as a spy. What would a spy, if you're undercover, you're a wanted man, how would you behave, So everyone will just try and explain the gravity of the situation, I suppose.
Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. Haskell's sort of, always keen to go and check places out, and then perhaps even under the cover of darkness might be a bit safer if need be.
As I say, what would be to gain apart from being discovered? But anyway, he would make that point clear that we're here to stay low, need what we need to get on and do the mission.
So another half an hour has ticked on past.
Okay, so while that is happening, Chris, because obviously Tarquin, Jada, and Gray won't be involved in that conversation.
Okay.
We will have gone to Wallow and said, we're heading into town, we're looking for our contacts, we'll be swinging past, crikey, what's it called? The Drowned Rat. By 10 o'clock at the latest, if you and your runners can find information about clerics who might be able to preserve, or powerful healers, or potions to heal, can you pass that information on to the owner, Captain Salty? He knows me, use my name, either wait there or we'll collect the information from you, and I thank him for his help. I don't know, is he the sort of I get the feeling I wouldn't want to slip him some cash, which I'd normally do, despite his slightly dodgy appearance, mostly because of this chap. And I'd make sure he's happy with me talking to Wallow. And then he looks a bit dodged, but I don't think our smiley man would like the idea of me slipping some money to him. And obviously I'd use as much of my charm as I could in having that discussion with Wallow, and presumably get some feel for how I'm going to make the assumption he's going to do as asked by his boss. And then I would turn to Gray and Jada, and I would describe Thalia and explain that she's my informant, and ask them to keep an eye out for her as we make our way to the market district.
Okay.
And I'd explain to her that she's notable for the fact she's so unnotable. She's average in every way, and I will be looking out for her too. And then we'll leave the boat and make our way through the docks and into the market district, heading towards the inn, but essentially looking for Thalia as we go.
Sure. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Good description. Just one quick check from me. I understand, Tarquin, you have relieved yourself of just a heads up, by the way. You would be aware, Tarquin, that because you've spent some time here, that weapons in the city are a lot more prevalent than other places. So weapons of war are not common. So walking around with a longbow or a crossbow or a spear or a bloody great big battle axe or something would just be considered weird and definitely cause attention. But there appears to be very, very little problem with people walking around with a sword on their hip, a buckler shield for protection. You don't see people obviously trotting around in armor because that's weapons and gear of war, but definitely people are openly carrying swords. And
I'd have my daggers and my short sword, and I presume would be equally armed.
Okay.
That's and the only thing I've got on me is my backpack, which is empty, and a pocket full of silver and copper pieces.
Cool, done. Gray and Jada, preparations from you?
Gray would want to know if if Tarquin had anything of sorry, I've forgotten the lady's name already. Who we're trying to find. If he had anything of hers that might have a scent. If there's scent that maybe he might be able to pick up.
Unfortunately, no. If anything, she smells less than most people in this godforsaken place.
Okay, he'll keep that. He'll be looking for someone who has an absence of smell. He'd want to. He wouldn't take his axe because that's probably going to draw a bit too much attention. He does have some daggers.
Okay.
So he would bring his daggers. Just trying to see if he does have a sword. I don't think he has a sword.
Okay.
No. So he'd just bring daggers.
Cool. Lovely. And Jada, I think you've described what you're taking.
Yeah, leave my quarterstaff, take my dagger.
Okay, sure thing. Okay, you head off the boat. So you head down. In fact, hey, there was just a nice little creek there, a creek of the dock. This place is pretty ramshackle. It smells of fish. There are some pretty motley dogs sniffing around the end of the wharf. There's some broken crates and fishing nets, etc. And Tarquin, are you leading the way?
So yeah, I'll lead the way, and I'm going to use my streetwise skill to essentially try and plot a course that will take us through this and the market district, going past the places I know I've seen Talia before and she's likely to hang out.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and maximise the route, even if it means it uses a little more time. So I'm mindful of the fact we docked at 6:30, and we basically would be hopping off the boat and heading there, but we need to find her, really. So better to take a more circuitous route and increase the odds of bumping into her.
All right, sure. So I would like, please, Streetwise. Streetwise is awareness of events in the underworld and the ability to make contacts with characters who run and live in underworld society. So you'd need to kind of tell me.
We are specifically going to look for my underworld contacts, of which Talia is one. So she's my most likely contact, but there may be other people I recognise who will know her, who I would also want to slip some coppers to.
Okay, cool. Great. So, Tarquin, your feet come off the creaking, rotting dock. Bang. And by the way, guys, we could break up the session and we could go into a separate chat room for this. I'm not going to because, hey, it gets pretty boring for everybody else. But obviously, everybody else is totally unaware of what these three characters are doing. Please, no encouragement, support, advice. Shouting from the cheap seats for those for the three characters that are currently in play. And Gray, you're next. Your feet hit the ground, so not just the dock, but actually on the ground of Landaina. And then Jada, your feet hit the ground, not the docks of Landaina. And Jada, I'd like you to make a channeling resistance roll, please. You're 9th level, is that right? Or 8th level?
8, 23.
Okay. And what's your channeling?
Oh, I don't have it. That skill.
It's not a skill. It's
what's
a
it?
it's a resistance roll.
Oh. What do I do? I've done the 23.
Yeah. So I'm after your your channeling.
Another roll.
No.
Oh,
So
sorry.
no, it's all right. So you have a look. I'll find it. You have so resistance roll modifications. It's on the front page down the bottom. Plus 10.
Oh, there is something.
Yeah.
There.
So those aren't skills. They're just like facets of your person. Yeah. And you rolled a 22.
23.
23. Cool. Okay. Jada, some information coming to your chat in a second. Yes. Coming into your chat now, Jada. Bit of information there. GM is going to just very quickly head to the loo, and I'll be back in a sec.
Ooh. Oh no.
Oh dear, we'll see. Oh, nice one on the information, Giles.
Yeah. Very
So
handy.
you've had some extra background. Ooh.
What were you doing here before? Can you say? Are you allowed to?
Ooh. Dodgy dealings, it sounds like.
Yeah.
We're getting the benefits, so thanks, Giles.
Yes.
Sorry, I just went for a pee. I missed that.
Oh, I'm just saying, nice one on having having a plan.
Yeah.
And using your backstory knowledge. That's fantastic. Nice, and we lucked out there, didn't we? We're in the city that you know about.
So it's good planning, but it's rank luck. Well, maybe it's planning on the GM's part.
But you're using the knowledge, so nice one. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, pick us up something nice in town. Actually, you can bring some pints back.
Well, there's a roaring slave trade in the market. Probably
great.
should tell Jada.
Okay, folks. Fantastic. So we'll come on to the adventures of Grey, Jada, and Tarquin in just a tick. What I'd like another really brave person to do, please. Tick tock, is to see how long it may take for your friend Jackin to locate a guide. This time, I'd like someone to roll a 1d8, please. Volunteer.
I can do it.
Thank you. You feel lucky?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, it is a 3.
3. Okay.
What does that mean? Don't say okay like that. And then that giggle.
Okay. Cool. That's great. So, Tarquin, you head off with your two companions. The streets here are... a bit of a description, I won't bore you too much, but... so to travel between districts, one must navigate the labyrinthine streets and alleys of Landaina. Each district's distinct microcosm of life in the city. While some districts are in close proximity to each other, others require a longer journey through bustling streets and crowded thoroughfares. As you head away, the docks themselves, just a bit of a description. So the ports, Landaina's port, while modest in size, serves as a lifeline for the city's inhabitants. Here, wearied travellers and merchants alike seek refuge from the perils of the sea, their ships bearing tales of distant lands and untold riches. Yet the harbour's once thriving trade has dwindled in recent years, leaving behind a sense of desolation that hangs heavy in the air. Rusting hulks of abandoned vessels litter the waterfront, their hulks caked with grime and barnacles, a grim reminder of the harsh realities of lives at sea. It's all pretty downtrodden. It's all pretty grim. You go past a variety of different faces. You do see the occasional greenskin slave chained around their collar, and then quite confrontingly for a number of you, not just greenskins, but also others. Northmen, Southrons, and others are in chains and clearly are slaves. This is unusual, at least for a number of you. The greenskins of the great forests far to the south, the primitives as they're sometimes known, have been treated appallingly over the centuries by the slave traders and the people that prey on them for a long time. But some of you at least are accustomed to seeing these sights. But it is strange to see non-greenskin slaves. You wind your way through the streets, and Tarquin, you follow your nose quite easily back towards the drowned rat. I think that's where you're going first off. Is that right?
Correct.
Yep. Couple of things before I ask you for a roll or two. The first is to try to find Talia at 7 a.m. Talia typically, not that you knew her well, but Talia typically wasn't much of a morning person. But hey, you never know your luck. As a result, I'm going to ask for 2 dice rolls. I'm going to ask for a streetwise attempt to kind of chat to people and suss some things out. And then secondly, I'm just going to ask for a pure dumb luck roll in case you just simply bump into her. You do make it to the market district. Just a bit of a description of the market district. Probably less vibrant and chaotic than you remember it, Tarquin. The market district usually bustles with activity, despite the overall malaise gripped by the city. Wooden stalls line the streets, their wares ranging from exotic spices to threadbare clothing. Merchants haggle loudly with potential customers, their voices echoing off the crumbling facades of nearby buildings. Here, amidst the hustle and bustle, one can catch glimpses of Landaina's multicultural heritage, reflected the diverse array of goods on offer. So you make your way to the Drowned Rat. The inn itself, located in the heart of the market district, the Drowned Rat Inn is a 3-storied establishment constructed from weathered timbers salvaged from the city's decaying docks. That's pretty much what you see as you arrive. Can I ask, please, Tarquin, for a mast roll for your streetwise? What was the roll? Hello, Tarquin. Giles, are you there? You're on mute, Giles.
Yeah, I'm talking to myself. The roll was 64 and his streetwise is 63, so it's 127 all up.
Hang on, it's masked, so it may be different, but it will be different. 64 was oh, okay. Can you? Yeah, can it was there 64 was the roll?
Correct.
Give me a roll, please. Another roll. What was that roll, please, to follow up on that first streetwise?
I'm just going to leave myself off mute. It was 21. Sorry, Chris.
Thank you. That's all right. 21. Cool. Okay. Okay. Oops. And your skill was what again, please?
My streetwise skill is 63.
Yeah, look, you traverse the immediate market area, and don't forget it's not that busy at this stage, and people just don't want to know, Tarquin. Your attempts are kind of a bit amateurish. No one's really interested in talking, unfortunately. And yeah, you think you probably just need to, at least in this immediate area, just give it a rest for at least a day before you give it another go. What I'd like is a pure and utterly unadulterated dumb luck roll just before you reach the drowned rat, and this is just simply, as luck would have it, if you or somebody else happens to roll under 10%, you just happen to bump into Talia in this area. Who's going to roll the dice?
Are we all going to roll? Do you want 3 of them?
No, just one person.
Go on.
You going to roll for us, Greg?
I can if you want. 73.
73. Sorry to say. So you arrive at the drowned rat, feeling like drowned rats. Actually, it's dripping with rain. You're still in your pretty shabby-ish clothes, although you have made an attempt to tart grey up a little bit. And yeah, you arrive at the door of the inn. No immediate luck with your sussing up the neighbourhoods to see if you can find Talia, and unfortunately, no joy just happening to stumble across her. What do you do?
We knock on the door, presume it's open. I'd expect the captain to be up with a hangover, and I'd stroll in to try and find him.
Yeah,
with our colleagues.
Captain Salty is indeed behind the bar. He actually doesn't tend to partake himself very much. He's a very, very big man, as you know, Tarquin. He used to drink a lot in his youth. He's really laid off now. The common room is pretty much empty. There are a couple of drunks snoring in the corner. There's 1 or 2 people sleeping probably for tin pieces around the fire. Not that the fire's on, of course, because it's far too hot. He sees you and looks up from his bar. Breakfast won't be ready for another half an hour.
And I guess I'd address him. Morning, Captain. It's me, back after a couple of days away. Thanks for the room. Not been needing another one, but any chance of 3 coffees? And I guess I'd put down double what it would normally cost for 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, we could find you something. Yeah, you were here a few days back, yeah, about 5 or 6 days ago.
Yeah, I had a room here for a couple of weeks, boss.
You did too. Good. What brings you back to Landaina, the city of sighs?
Such a fine city as too. I'd introduce my 2 colleagues. I need 2 made-up names, team.
Silver.
And
Janet.
Janet.
Silver and Janet. Strange names. I keep strange company, boss.
Yes, you did.
When the coffee arrives, I'd thank him again and let him know that a couple of my colleagues from a ship might be popping in with some information or a guide, probably before 10, and that we appreciate it's only 7. And I'd ask him if he knows where I might find the finest cleric in town.
Oh, finest cleric, he says.
You know, one of those healer types.
You don't strike me as a god botherer, boy.
Yeah, not much of a god botherer, but have a mate who needs a hand. don't know how to fight. Got themselves into a tad of trouble.
Okay. So give me. This is just a pure dumb luck roll. A high roll will indicate that Captain Salty knows and keeps tabs on what's where. A low roll will indicate he really doesn't pay any attention to much around the city. He doesn't strike you as a God-fearing man. Someone give me a roll. High is good, low is bad.
I think it's your turn, isn't it, Jada?
It is 75.
75. That's pretty good.
Hey.
That's pretty good. Yeah, he says, well, there's the High Temple of Apollo, of course. All of you would know that Apollo is the god of wisdom and is one of the old gods. There's the sanctuary. Hang on. Let's. What's a fair way to do this? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can somebody please roll a D8 six times and tell me the result? No double ups.
How do you do that, Chris?
Oh, one D8 6 times. So exclamation mark R space 6 D8.
I did one.
Okay, what?
1, 8, 6, 2, 3, 4.
So 1, 8,
6.
6. Hang on a sec. God's sake, hang on.
Which god, Chris?
Yeah, which god? 1, 8, 6, 2. Is that right?
3. Yeah, yep. 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, and 4. Lovely. Okay. So he says, yeah, I mean, I don't pay much attention to that nonsense, but yes, there is the High Temple of Apollo. You would all know very commonly that Apollo is one of the old gods. There's the Sanctuary of the Huntress, Alderon, goddess of nature, also the old gods. The House of Mandos. Mandos is another old god. The god of death, of one of the old gods. His other name is Geron. Mandos or Geron, the god of death. Yeah, there's one of those Roldenic churches around, I think. There is the there's also the Temple of Renewal. That's Hera Akraya, the goddess of healing, another old god, and the Shrine of the Awakened One, and there are probably some others around as well.
I'm going to wind up all my charm and say, look, mate, your quartermaster's sick. They need to be preserved so you can get them to a good healer. Where are you going to take them? Sounds to me like here is the way, but I want to know what you think.
Okay, give me a charm roll, please. This is unmasked.
98.
Hey, roll again.
38.
And what's his charm?
85. He's a charming guy.
Ooh.
So that was absolute success. Not only did you influence your audience, but you receive a plus 50 bonus on influencing them until you do something to cause them to lose confidence in you. So, Tarquin, you just grin, and Jadar and Gray, you almost stand back from the brilliance of Tarquin's smile. He's a very good-looking guy, of course. And he just lays it on thick. He's very funny, he's charming. You're speaking, by the way, in Southtongue. This is what Captain Salty speaks, but you know he also speaks Thebronic and a bit of Westron too. And yeah, you are infinitely charming. Over your cup of coffee, you've already paid him double, so mark off two coppers, by the way, for that.
Yep, thanks.
And what do you ask him?
So what I want to know is where we are most likely to find a cleric with a skill in preservation.
I don't know.
I hope
He says, I mean, you're a lovely, you're a good lad and all. I'd love to help you, but yeah, like.
Do you think?
Probably
you're good, my friend.
I'd go to the goddess of healing if I was you. Here or a crier.
Tell me, Salty, have you ever been there?
Yeah, I have.
And what's the best way for us to get in their good books, my friend?
Are you of their faith?
No, not me.
I'd say someone that is of their faith would be the best person to speak to them if I was you. But I'm not you.
If we don't have that, is there any other way to get their attention? Get their support? Bring them on side to help us?
Joining their order?
How did you manage it, Salty, my friend? You don't strike me as a very religious guy.
How did I manage what?
To get their help when you went to see them.
No, I didn't go and see them. I've seen them around.
Can't thank you enough. Anything else you think might be useful for us to know?
Well, I mean... Yeah, you're not looking your finest. I mean, he is, and he points to Grey. Yeah. Tidy yourselves up a bit? I don't know. Maybe. But definitely, I mean, they're clerics. They look after their own. So if you're not of their faith, I don't know, maybe they'll help.
Yeah, and I guess at this point I'll give Gray and Jada a long look and see if there's anything else they think I should be asking.
If there's any is it Altuma? I don't know my own faith. Altuma? Because they didn't mention any, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe that Shrine of the Awakened one. Are they Altuma?
The Arab faith. He says, yeah, look, there's one around. I'm sure I've seen it. I think there is, at least. But where it is, I don't know its name. But probably. The Shrine of the Awakened one, no, that's one of those, strange Eastern folk. Weird people. They like meditating a lot.
Okay.
Anything else you think we should ask, Gray?
No, so I'm just trying to think of anything else.
Citizens Advice Bureau.
No, I'm not sure. I don't think there's anything else that I can think of right now.
Maybe there's guides, city guides.
Now, it's now 7:30.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Chris, is pay him for my old room for the night. Remind him that there might be one or two of my friends coming by with some information about a guide or where we might find some help. And either me or one of my friends will be back 9:30 in the next 2 or 3 hours to check in.
Okay. So paying for a room. Yep, paying for a room for the nights. Give me a roll, please. There's a 25% chance he doesn't have room. If you roll under 25, he does. There is no room at the inn. Otherwise, you're good.
30.
No, he does. He does have accommodation. Let's read. There we go. Top of my head, could someone help me out, please, for the cost of a basic room?
I've got the book here.
Yeah, lovely.
Yep. Food and lodging.
We can beat you to it.
Stable. Library access. Good lodging. Average lodging. Poor lodging.
Not great.
Yeah.
Average.
Average lodging.
24 TP city cost. 24 TP.
2 coppers for tin.
Yeah, 2 coppers.
2 coppers for tin. Mark it off, please.
Will do. Yep. Jolly good. Thank you very much. And I'll tell them we'll be on our way and back in a couple of hours. But before we go, where's the best place to buy herbs in town? You know, the healing sort.
Oh, again, give me a roll, and give me a roll, and again, lowers he's got no idea. High, he knows a bit.
Yeah, 24.
24. Yeah, there's one I've gone to a couple of times, the Apothecary's Haven, and there's the Blind Octopus as well.
Sorry, can we ask as well if there's any places of learning where we might be able to learn some new magic?
Book stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Close to the, where is it now? Where is it now? Look, to be honest, I don't leave the market district very much. But, yeah, close to the government quarter, there's a big building. They say it's a uni something or other. People have like books there. Big building. People and they wear those strange glass in front of their face with the wire on it. You know, those newfangled things to see by.
Yeah, so I guess I'll turn to Gray and say that's probably up by the Ivory Towers. I think I can find our way there once we've sorted Carius.
Yes.
Well, I guess now I turn to Jada and Gray and ask them who wants to convert to the faith of Hera, because it looks like that's what we're going to have to do.
Data?
Inconceivable.
I will do whatever.
No idea what it involves. So I think I'm going to suggest to my 2 colleagues that finding the Temple of Hera is not too far, that we head there, it's early, they're likely to be up and about, and we see if we can seek their help.
Okay. Could you give me, could some brave person, one of the 3 of you, give me a roll of a 1d8, please, to find out how close it is?
1d8. I can do that. Oh, Gray, you got it?
Oh, no, that's right. No, but
1.
No,
That's awesome.
close.
That's really close, isn't it?
So close.
It's only 1 away, not 8 away. That's brilliant. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better.
So what do you do?
I think we should go there. We need their help.
Yep. Agreed. Just gonna move on.
Let's go.
So what does that mean? You step out of the drowned rat. You do what?
We'll leave the drowned rat, and I think we'll head directly to the Temple of Renewal. And presumably I know where this is, because it's so obviously in much better condition than virtually the rest of the city.
And that is of course, that is a place that you already know, isn't it?
It is a place I already know. This is correct.
There you go. That's why I was asking. So you are delighted to realise, Tarquin, that actually it's very, very close. It's less than 15 minutes away.
Hey, Chris.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Yes.
The thing that happened to me when I jumped off the boat, can I tell these guys, but then I don't want the others, I guess the others can't hear, eh? Or do I just, is that something I keep to myself?
You can do what you like with the information.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter that everyone on the boat will hear.
Well, obviously their characters are not present. So yeah.
They'll just have to ignore what I say.
Or you can ask your companions to jump into chat room 2 if you like, chat room 1.
Oh, and just really quickly tell them?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay.
Where do you want us to go? Chat room.
Chat room 1. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Are you there?
Ha, interesting. GM's not actually part of the discussion for a change. Nice.
It feels like it's silent and. Oh, actually, do we? Can we do Nicholas's praying roll while we're here?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it does anything, but he does have a skill.
Okay.
He'll be specifically praying to Apollo for us to have the knowledge that we require, basically, to help Kyros.
What is the skill? It's old God's prayer, correct?
God, well, do next prayer.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Give me a roll.
He's rolled a 45, and he's got 47 as a skill.
5 and 47. Okay. I mean, unfortunately, the god is irritatingly quiet on this one, Nicholas. But who knows? One day he might answer you.
Yeah, I just wanted to use that skill because he's got it.
Yeah, sure. It's actually not a bad old god skill.
Oh, does it? Oh, he's used it one time before when he was out doing a thing by himself, and he got a really good result. And I can't remember what happened. Something with a cat, I think. Can't remember.
Okay.
Talking of cats, did Leif find something for Victory?
What was he looking for?
Oh, he wanted Victory food, so milk, and would play with her as well. If she was up to, she's in the mood.
She's really not. Yeah, she's really not interested in engaging. She does. She's not even eating, to be honest.
Good.
Thanks, Pete. Sorry, Pete.
Yep. Oh no, I was just saying he'd just keep her company. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So, so Tarquin, you're back. And anything I should know about that conversation that your characters do? If not, a bit of description from me.
No, I don't think we do anything in particular. Do we, Greg?
No, we just kind of hope.
Okay. Just kind of hope. Excellent. Okay, so fantastically, it's now going on for about 8:45, and you make your way quite promptly. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. To the temple. Gray, Tarquin, you've been here before. To the temple of Hera Acria, the goddess of renewal, which looks like this. The description: rising majestically from the heart of Landaina, the Temple of Renewal stands as a testament to the enduring spirit of hope amidst despair. Its towering spire reaches up towards the heavens, its intricate carvings glistening in the dim light of morning. The entrance inside is flanked by statues of ancient healers, their faces weathered by time, still exuding the aura of wisdom and compassion. What do you do? Go up to the entrance. The doors are closed.
Is there a sign on it telling when they open up?
Nope, no sign.
So I think I'd turn to my two companions and say, I think we should knock on the door. I think one of us needs to tell them we have an injured companion who needs to be preserved and healed, and one of us needs to be prepared to convert to help that happen. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be lying through my teeth.
Yep. Gray's also happy to convert, but it won't be real.
Thank goodness.
Okay, in which case, I'm going to say I'm pretty good at duping people, so if it's a question of who's going to dupe them best, I'll have a punt.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, and I'm going to go and bang on the door then.
Okay.
Okay. Just so you know, Jade is really quiet around other people, especially men.
Okay. Out of interest, what faith is Grey?
He's kind of agnostic, really. He doesn't really believe in anything other than just nature, I guess. He's not into organized religions or authorities at all.
Okay. Okay, so you thump on the door a little bit more of a description. The door, probably 10 or so minutes later, does open. You step inside and are greeted by the soft strains of hymns and the general murmur of prayers. The air is thick with the scent of burning sage and sacred oil, a tangible reminder of the divine presence that permeates these hallowed halls. Pillars of polished marble lines the grand nave, leading your gaze towards the altar, where healers clad in flowing robes tend to the sick and injured, with skill and devotion. That building that you can see, the double doors open up, and looking inside, you can see right down to the ends, right down to the nave. The person that greets you is this woman here, and says in Westron. Does everybody understand Westron?
Yep. I think so. Not.
Yeah, my Westron's pretty good. 6. Can't write it, but I understand it.
Same. I'm a 7.
Gray's a 2.
Sorry, 2. Okay, so Grey, you pick up hints of this. She doesn't appear very happy. What do you bloody want? It's nearly the middle of the night. It's far too early. What are you doing here?
And so I guess I'd drop to my knees, and I'd ask for her graciousness. I tell her we've travelled far with a companion who's been killed, who means a great deal to us, and we're desperately in need of a healing or support to help our injured colleague, ideally with a preservation at the current time. And we've come in supplication to ask if, just like that, we've come in supplication to ask if the acolytes of Hera might be able to help us, and I'm going to squeeze out my charm as much as I can to do this.
Give me a roll. Hope for a good one.
68.
68. What's your skill?
85.
85. She's kind of annoyed to begin with, but Tarquin, yeah, your good looks and your charm kind of console her somewhat. She said, you want to preserve her, but she's dead. That makes no bloody sense. What are you blithering about, boy?
I'd explain. I'm no healer, but I understand in the amazing powers of healing. And if we're able to preserve her, there might be the possibility to repair her wounds and magically We appear to have a herb that might help bring her back to life. She's only been dead a very short while, a meagre few hours. It's beyond my skills, but I understand well within the skills from an ancient goddess such as Hera and her followers.
Well, you got a pretty tongue in your head, I'll give you that, boy. By the way, that was a hard maneuver. Please mark that down. That was a hard charm maneuver, which you successfully did. Look, I can't help you. I'm just here to help, cleaning and sweeping and such, answering the door. The High Priestess Aveline, she is who you need to speak with, and I'd like some brave person to find out where the priestess is. Give me a roll, please.
Come on, carry us.
What's this 1 to 100?
Any,
What was the roll?
Coming.
Coming.
Oh. 3.
3.
A 3?
Mast, right?
No, not must.
Boo.
A 3. These are completely random rolls. Pure, unadulterated luck. But it's actually your lucky day. Your very lucky day. The priestess usually is up at this time in the morning. Is not usually up at this time of the morning, but actually, I've just been helping her with a rite that has just finished, and she's down the far end of the nave. I can take you there right away if you wish. By the way, what are you doing later on today? This evening?
After preserve.
And she winks at Tarquin.
After the safe preservation and maybe repair of our friend, I'm entirely free.
Yeah. Okay.
And I both smile and wink back.
I get off at 7. Just same.
That's about when I can start.
She takes you down. The exterior of the building is pretty shabby. Well, yeah, it's got moss etc. growing off it, but beautiful artwork of healers doing their thing, and inside, as described, quite beautiful. And at the very end of the room, off to one side of the nave, she's just finishing extinguishing several candles. Is this woman here? She exudes an air of quiet strength and authority. Her unwavering faith serving as a beacon of hope for all that seek solace within the Temple of Renewal. She looks up and she sees the door warden that you're walking towards with her. It kind of looks quite quizzically. It's a bit early for arms seekers, isn't it? She says, looking in your direction. She's speaking in Westron as well.
And I guess again I'd fall to the floor. I'd apologise for the hour and apologise for the intrusion. And I'd explain our situation. Our dear friend Carius has only recently been hit by a ball of acid and has suffered a mortal wound. We've preserved her mind but can't preserve her body, and are seeking support to see if we can help her in her state of puny death, and know of no better person to come to Aveline than the acolytes, obviously, of Hera, with their unrivaled powers and skills in this area.
You have a very pretty tongue in your head, she says. Who are your companions? Who are you?
I'd introduce myself with my name. My name is Tarquin. I'm a young man cast into the world, looking for some understanding and a place to be, following the tragic loss of my home. I have two recently new companions just met. I'd introduce them by name, Gray and Jada, companions who freed me from a band of thugs and hooligans and to whom I owe a debt of gratitude. And indeed, it is in part to pay off the debt of gratitude in which I'm doing my best to help them and my newfound friends.
See, if I'm not mistaken, and she turns and looks directly at Jada, this is an unbeliever. This is one of the Arab kind. What is she doing in the house of God?
And I think it's if her presence displeases you, I'm sure she's happy to leave, and I'd give her a look.
Yeah, happy to leave, but not here to cause any trouble.
She doesn't answer that. She turns back to you, and you see her looking you up and down, Tarquin and Gray, taking in. You guys definitely made a point of tidying Gray up. I heard that loud and clear. But Tarquin, I'm assuming that you're probably dirty, bit messy. There's probably some blood on you. You've slept in your clothes. You're probably not looking that great. Gray's definitely looking better because you definitely took some time to cover his nipples. Jada, probably a bit hard to determine. I did hear someone say that others tried to cover Jada up a bit, so perhaps she's looking a bit neater and tidier. But she kind of takes you all in. Her face is quite stern, very beautiful, but quite stern, and she takes all three of you in. This is a place of healing. It is a place of succor for the needy. It is a place where those that are sick and those that have suffered grievous hurts may be healed. Of course, for the faithful, for the people that truly believe. And at this moment she says a prayer. She uses a phrase, and basically words to the effect of, may the healer's light shine forever upon you. And up to you who follows this up, but I'd like one of you, someone, if you wish, to make a an Old Gods static action roll. And that could be either prayer at +0, -10 for divinations, +0 for teachings and beliefs, -20 for sacrifice, or -10 for history. You can modify, and if you're not skilled in, if you don't have any knowledge of the role of the Old God's faith, you have -25 as the base, and then modified by both your reasoning and your memory. So I'll give you, so that again, if none of you or whoever's wanting to answer her has no skill in Old Gods, in one of the teachings or the areas of faith of the Old Gods, take -25, get your reasoning and your memory bonus, add those together, and then add your reasoning and memory bonus divided by 2 to -25, and that is your bonus to attempt to interact with her.
I think at this point I'd give my two colleagues a bit of a long look, because I don't have the skill.
I don't have Old Gods. You, Gray? Silver?
Sorry, no, Gray's just like axes and stuff.
Axes and stuff.
Axes
and memory and reason.
Yeah, my mean is 12.5.
Yep.
For those two added together and divided into 2.
Yep.
Which one's that? Sorry, which ones are we adding and dividing?
Mine's 17.
Memory and reasoning.
Memory and reasoning. Mine's 6.
Yeah. What was yours? What was yours, Taquin?
12 and a half.
Oh, I'll go. It's 17.5.
Nice.
You can also modify this roll with a charm, seduction, or other kind of influence roll, if you wish. You don't have to.
Okay.
So
my charm is 85.
Yeah.
But I think if we're going to play formally to the game, it'd probably be my duping I'd modify this with, really. And my duping is 96.
Okay. Oh, that sounds good.
So how does it modify it, Chris?
So what is your... So with the negative 25, what's the bonus or minus that you get after applying your reasoning and your memory?
Plus 12 and a half.
Plus 12, okay. So you get plus 12 and a half to this roll. Let's do your charm, seduction, or your duping roll first. This would be unmasked, really, because you're dealing with a skill of plus 12. You want a really super duper duper amazingly good roll here. No pressure.
83.
83, that's good.
Ooh.
83 plus, what is your bonus?
85.
Plus 85, 83 plus 85. You do get a minus because you're dirty.
No, it's 96. My duping skill is 96.
Oh, 96 plus 83. You do get a penalty because you're looking pretty grotty and pretty messy. But you did end up being successful at charming. So you now get plus 20 to a very, 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 very very important roll that you get your plus 12 on to try to answer her back in the old god's faith. That sounds convincing that you're actually a believer and you know something about it. Absolutely no pressure here, Tarquin, whatsoever. Keros's life may be hanging by a thread on this. Give me a roll, please.
100?
Did you roll 100?
No. It is a 100 roll you want.
Always, yes. And this is in the open. Not masked.
60.
60. So 60 plus 20, as I said, plus 10. Negative 10 because you're looking pretty messy. You get a result of 80. Which is as follows. It is, would you believe, a partial success. That was a really, really, really important roll, and you got a partial success. So she says to you, I mean, your answer, she kind of, she gives a line, a very, very common line that would be appropriate in the old god's faith, and you. Tarquin, you kind of look at your companions and it's like, oh shit, what should I say? What should I say? You're kind of looking at them both, and then you just kind of come out with something that sounds utter nonsense to you, basically. May Hera's light shine down upon you and may it grace everybody, and it just sounds utterly rubbish. But it kind of did the trick. You don't think it was quite what she was looking for, but it didn't seem to offend her or to turn her off. So she smiles. When was the last time you visited temple, my boy?
I think just briefly, Tarquin would reflect that this isn't the first time he's had an unusual experience like this. So he's had an experience in the past where he managed to put someone to sleep who was in a very dangerous situation in an almost healing way, and he'd probably be a bit perplexed and unnerved by it all. And the answer would be far too long, my high priestess.
I think it would behoove you to spend some more time in temper.
If it's the interest of serving my friend, I'm more than happy to.
I don't care about your friend. I care about serving the goddess and her Parthenon of brothers and sisters. I would highly suggest, young man, you do the same. She...
As you instruct would be my answer, or something of that line.
Yes. She says, you are clearly man of the gods, although it feels like to me that you have strayed quite some way. Yes, I would be prepared to undertake this boon for your friend. This is, of course, a place of healing, and we don't, of course, and the goddess, of course, frowns on common dirty trade being present. Everybody, of course, of the faith should gain benefit from healing. I would strongly encourage you to make a healthy donation to the Mother Healer.
I would apologise for my terrible attire, and only explain that in the haste to help others, I've overlooked what is obviously so important, and agree that a healthy donation would be absolutely required and doesn't need to be addressed further.
In addition to the donation, obviously the person that I am considering assisting with the spell is one of our faith. I would require perhaps some additional tasks from that person. I will require additional tasks from that person. Is that agreeable to you?
Absolutely.
Good, she says, and nods and smiles. You're not quite sure if you like the smile. Where is this person bereft of life? She says, looking around.
We can bring her to you. At the current time, she's on our ship, and safely cared for by other companions.
Well, you see I am up, I am dressed. My official duties don't begin until the striking of 10 bells. But if you hasten here, I would have time, if you could be back here by 10 bells. I believe I can assist you.
And I guess we'd say thank you so much. We're forever in your debt. We'll take leave of your company to, as you suggest, hasten forthwith. And I guess we'd be out the door quick, smart, and running back to the boat.
Excellent. I'm asking here for one last particularly critical roll. And that is... this is firstly a 1d6, and the 1d6 is to determine the level of the priest, and then I want a second 1d6. So first 1d6, and then roll, and I'll tell you what to roll next. So could someone roll a 1d6?
It doesn't need to be me, does it, Chris?
Sorry? It's anybody who just feels lucky, frankly.
It's not me.
I can do it.
Okay.
6.
Hey!
6. Nice. Nice. Can you? You guys have had some hella luck this evening. Can you please give me a 1d25 Jada, an odd number, a 1d25, and then add 7 to whatever that roll is. 1d25.
So 23
23.
plus 7, 30.
How about that?
We are lucky tonight.
You actually don't believe quite how lucky. I'll show you the documents at the end to actually show you how incredibly lucky you are. Just to, it's nearly 10 o'clock. To round that off, tell me what you do, guys.
We need to thank the priestess, bountifully explain that we need to hurry back to our boat to get our friend to you, and we'll be out the door and running back to the boat, quick, smart. I know the city, so I should be able to take us the most direct route possible.
Yep.
Okay.
I've been keeping an eye on the time as we go, and it looks to me like it's about 9 o'clock.
Correct.
And it took about half an hour, a little bit more, to get there using a circuitous route. It was about 45 minutes. So I think running there and getting some support to run back with Kiris, we should be good to go. But we're going to have to move it because she's going to have enough time to do whatever it is she needs to do.
Yep.
While we're running, I'll just say, it seemed like she wants to make us do something, and she didn't say what. I won't be eating pork or taking my religion.
Let's worry about the future in the future. First things first.
Very good. I'm happy to play on until 10:30, or do we want to leave it there? What do people feel like?
I might need to leave it here.
I only had 4 hours sleep last night. I've got 13 hours work tomorrow.
Okay.
Should probably go.
Okay. I think that's us. So we'll leave it bang on pretty much 9 a.m. in the morning, 3 hours after the ship has arrived, and you are just leaving the temple of Hera Akraya, racing back towards your unnamed ship on the docks. Hopefully nothing happens to you on the way back to the docks. Let's find out. And to do something else. But seriously, well played, guys. Very well played, and my God, you had some luck. Well done, guys.
Phew.
Well done, Giles. That was excellent.
Well done, team. Nice one.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my goodness.
I mean, Etienne definitely gets Vader.
Who does? Sorry.
Etienne. Not Etienne. Not Etienne. Tarquin.
Etienne had Vader, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm passing it on. Tarquin.
Tarquin gets Vader. Excellent. Thank you. And Severin, you also had the choice for.
I mean, Grey put on a shirt. I can't get past that.
A quieter session for some. Look, well played. And my goodness, when I show you, when I show you those documents and some of the odds you're up against, nice work, guys. Nice work. I'm not gonna jinx anything because we've got a wee way to go yet. But Keros, who knows? There might be a glimmer of hope for you. There we go, guys.